Thank you so much, Chris. And I wanted to turn to another major story that we've been following on our show, and that is now new testimony from the Marine Corps Commandant responding to national outrage over the nude photo sharing scandal rocking the U.S. military and answering tough questions from New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
Why are commanders who have asked for all responsibility to deal with sexual assault and these behaviors for the 5 years this committee has been focused on this issue? You have demanded that you maintain control of all these issues. But where's the accountability for failure? Who is being held accountable for doing nothing since 2013? Who?
I don't have a good answer for you. I'm not going to sit here and duck around this thing. I'm not. I'm responsible. I'm the commandant. I own this, and we are going to have to, you've heard it before, but we're going to have to change how we see ourselves and how we treat each other. That's a lame answer, but ma'am, that's the best I can tell you right now. We've got to change.
And Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, a member of the Armed Services Committee, joins me now. Senator, that was pretty extraordinary. We don't often see a United States Senator in that kind of an exchange with the Marine Commandant, and if I may say so, particularly when it's an issue of gender. Tell me whether you are satisfied with his answers.
Andrea, I'm not satisfied with the answer, and I'm not satisfied with what the Department of Defense has done over the last 5 years. We don't have a system of transparency and accountability in the criminal justice system within the military. We don't actually have the type of oversight and leadership that we frankly need. And again, we've seen this failure over and over again, and just this online issue, it was a member of Congress wrote a letter to the Secretary of Defense, the head of the Marines, saying this is a huge problem and you have to do something about it. That was 4 years ago. And so nothing's been done. We have the same kind of scandal. We have it in each of the services. And what we need desperately is accountability. And as I asked the Commandant, who's been held accountable? No one. No one's been fired. No one's been court-martialed. There's no accountability in this system. And our system of justice within the military must improve. We need it to be more professional. We need the decisions not to be made by commanders who have skin in the game and who may have biases. It needs to be made by trained military prosecutors who will prosecute these wrongdoers and put them in jail. What they're doing is criminal, and it undermines good order and discipline. It undermines unit cohesion. So we need stronger leadership, better results, more accountability.
Senator, there was division in the committee back then, even from Democratic leaders of the committee. And the decision was made not to push harder to get a separate kind of legal system, outside prosecutors. Do you think that, is there any way now, given especially that you're now in the minority, that you could push harder? Is this case going to break it all open?
Well, it just shows that there's a larger problem, that with this kind of culture and without command holding these Marines and other perpetrators accountable, they're not doing their jobs. And I believe that if you had more convictions, if you had a more professional criminal justice system within the military, and you had these decisions being made by trained military prosecutors, you'd have better results. You'd have more convictions, you'd have more prosecutions. And when you have justice in a system, that's how you change the culture. When justice is done and wrongdoers are held accountable, that's how you change the culture. What we've seen, I think, is a wink and a nod. Commanders do not take this seriously. They've allowed this kind of conduct to fester year after year. It's corrosive, and it undermines the good work that our military does. It undermines all those brave men and women who are sacrificing themselves and their lives for this country. They deserve something better. And all I've heard is excuses and not solutions, and it's a lack of leadership. So we really need to reform the justice system, the military justice system, from the top to bottom, and we need it to be something strong and worthy of the sacrifice our men and women are making every day.
And here in Tokyo and elsewhere in Asia, obviously the real threat now is North Korea. That's why I'm here. Secretary Tillerson arrived a few hours ago and is facing a really tough challenge. A big welcome in terms of the diplomacy here in Japan, where there's strong support for the U.S. forces and for a hard line against North Korea, but not so in South Korea, where he's going next. There's no government. The next likely leader is probably not going to want to take a strong line and to push as hard as the U.S. has been pushing for in bipartisan ways. And then China resisting pressure from the U.S. to put more pressure on the North. What should this new team do?
Well, clearly they have to have a strategy where they're engaging China, because you cannot deal with North Korea without the support and investment of China. China is North Korea's only ally today. China gives most of the financial support to the North Korean government from anywhere else in the world. We need China's engagement. This is a huge strategic issue for both South Korea and Japan. I traveled to the region with other senators previously, and we talked about how this aggression by North Korea, it really is destabilizing the region. The presence of nuclear capability is a threat, and so we need a higher level of engagement.
And finally, today on the House side, Congressman Nunes and Schiff on the Intel Committee both saying, and the chairman, Devin Nunes, saying that there is no evidence so far of President Trump's claim of wiretapping by President Obama or the Obama White House against him. Comey's going to be testifying on Monday. What should the Senate and House do now that the president's charge has not been substantiated so far?
That's not surprising, Andrea, but what the public needs to know and still doesn't know is what is the level of engagement between the administration and Russia during the campaign, after and before the election. And those investigations are ongoing, and the public has a right to know, because we need to know if there's conflicts of interest. We need to know if the president is speaking from a place that's unbiased. And so we really need to know the answer of those investigations that hopefully will continue through fruition. Both the Senate and House Intelligence Committees are doing investigation on those Russian ties as well, and so they hopefully will be allowed to continue their work.
Senator Gillibrand, thank you so much. Kirsten Gillibrand, for being with us today. An important day on all of these issues.